And I think there we are, folks. What is up? Man, we're here on Sunday again, chilling, doing some stuff. Now, exciting developments, folks, but first let me introduce, almost said interview, and we're not doing that. Let me introduce the co-host, Pepe Mache. Of course, as always, he's always here. He's literally always here. The man of few words. I dig. Now, he's got something in his mouth once again for us today, so we're going to check that in just a moment. But first, let's get to the new stuff. All right, so you might be noticing right off the bat, my audio is kind of shitty today, and adjustments are being made. The video and the camera, however, way better, man. So I got this Canon, M50, and I can apparently use it as a webcam. So this is my new camera without any settings adjusted on or anything. So hopefully it looks good. It looks way better than the old thing we were working with. So that is tight, man. Now, what we're going to do today, folks, the reason my audio is shit is because I am going to solo over the last track of the album. We're on the last fucking track today, man. We got one more track to go on this thing, and it is a beast. Now, I've been having this guitar hooked up for a while and been like working on it for like 2 hours or something, just sitting here trying to get the audio right. And in past streams, I've done the guitar and the singing and stuff on a few before this, and it's been fine. It's not the best thing in the world, but it's fine. Now this, I'm going to be playing a solo today, and I wanted it to be really prevalent, the guitar, in the mix. So you've got two options, right? Turn the guitar up some to fit above the mix, or turn the mix down some to fit with the guitar. And the mix was already at a spot where I wanted it, so I just tried turning my guitar up some, and long story short, I'm cranking the fuck out of this guitar. My mic is clipping, and I'm still struggling to get it loud enough, so I had to go and take the volume of the mix down anyway. So it might be like, oh, the mix is a bit quieter, but everything else is like, you might be able to hear it right now because I think I do. The mics are kind of hot. They're hissing a bit because they're trying their best to pick up well enough above the mix, the guitar and stuff I've got. So you might notice that I'm like far, far beneath. Like the camera's usually pretty high anyway, but now we've got like an extra 6 inches to go with. I'm kind of far beneath the camera here. Yeah, I've got basically the whole setup, but my tripod for the setup is like at the shortest it can go, and it's not like a webcam tripod, so it's like this tall still. So it's kind of sitting in the middle of my shit, just holding my camera way up above me. So, I mean, hey, I think it's a kind of cool shot, but you guys kind of have this bird's eye view of me. Now, Pepe Mache's got this thing in his mouth. So let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do today, and then we'll get to that, right? So the song today, Transmission to User. One of my, conceptually, I think, just by simplicity's sake, favorite songs of, the Bedbugs project that I do, just because it's so sci-fi horror inspired, right? This one's really nice and quick with the art, with the lyrics, everything. Well, the lyrics are a lot shorter. The art I want to spend some time on. Super fucking awesome stuff, man. So let's get into that so I can fucking do this solo, because I've been playing this all morning, and I'm so stoked and so ready, even though my solos suck. So let's see what happens whenever we improvise some shit, man. But the lyrics, let's go over the lyrics really quickly, because they're super quick. They're super easy. We're going to get those out of the way, and then we'll look at the art, right? The art right here, before we get into things, is done by my eldest brother, Jared, and I thought this would be a really cool track for him and his aesthetic and taste to kind of shine. And I was not wrong. Now, Pepe seems to be hollering at me right now as we speak. So hold on. Let me get what's in his mouth, because he's kind of saying, through a lot of spit and a lot of stuff pouring out of his mouth now. He's got something to show me. So, folks, let's see what's up with that. Ooh. Ooh word. Oh my God. All right, folks, this is the physical piece of art. Now, you're not going to see it that great from here because I have a bit of different lighting going on, and there's several light sources in my room trying to light up my cave. So it's a bit glimmery. But let me get closer here. Or actually, let me see one moment, folks. Let me see if I can get this lens adjusted to zoom in, because I can do that now. I'm literally on the ground on my knees right now. Let's see if I can zoom in some with this lens and really show you guys the art that's in front of you, but in a bit of a cooler light, right? So let me see if I can get in on some of these specific parts of this. The physical copy, even though it's covered in Pepe's spit, way fucking cooler than just a digital piece. Now let me get even closer on some of these bits. In fact, let me go over the lyrics really quickly before I even look at this, because the lyrics are very quick and kind of show that sci-fi inspiration. They read, transmission to user. This is Sergeant of Scout Regiment 86919. I'm not sure what we're going through, but I've come to want to avoid the skyline. Exhibition to new serfs has led us to find some strange foreign life. It's been a good conversation, thousands of questions, but we're gonna lose our blank, right? So let's look at this, man. Pull that back up. Get this zoomed back in. Let's get this thing auto-focused in on here. Now, let me start by saying that this is very, very, as I'm holding this up, very sci-fi horror inspired. My favorite genre of film, and I'm huge into that shit, man. Specifically, I pulled a lot of the vibe at the end, which we will talk about after the song, from Alien, from the series Alien, which is one of my favorites ever. Probably my favorite, like, as a series of films, my favorite ever. A lot of inspiration from Alien, but not directly, and kind of nods at that sort of vibe and just sci-fi horror in general here. I just finished watching 2001: A Space Odyssey from Stanley Kubrick the other night. Watched that again with a roommate, and oh my god, man. Movies like that just change my fucking life every time I watch them. Beautiful, man. First time seeing it in 4K on a giant screen, too. That was fucking insane. So, yeah. It's transmission to user. So, let me show you kind of some of the cooler little bits of this. First of all, look at just this black, like, smearing of ink or whatever that is, right? Like, just the patterning on that alone looks gorgeous. It looks like a mixture of like especially this blob right here, a mixture of like inky wood grain kind of stuff, and then like almost like the texture of like a tarantula or a spider kind of blotted in there with it or something, which, knowing my brother Jared, I always thought was very cool. It was very interesting. He's into that shit. So we've got all these different kinds of inks going on and stuff. I'm not really sure exactly of even how he did this one, man. It's just so cool. He even did the bed bugs in a very cool font there. I love that. The ships along the top. Bloody hand. All these little kind of wood grainy looking things around the edge. I love that I get to show this stuff off a bit more now with this new camera, so that's awesome. I just have to lean in and out for the zoom, but it's cool. So, folks, again, we're so fuzzy trying to get adjusted. There it is. Again, it's just very sci-fi horror inspired. So basically the story of this song in particular is you are a crew and you show up on, much like Alien did and like a lot of other sci-fi horrors do, you are going through space and you hear this, or not necessarily hear at first, but you catch this transmission being shot out from some source in space. And, you know, you've got the coordinates of the transmission, but it's too fuzzy to hear out, so you go to the coordinates to make sure it's not like an emergency call of some kind. And you end up at a ship you end up at this ship just kind of drifting in outer space. Doesn't seem like anyone's really controlling the thrusters or anything. It's just kind of floating, but that's where the transmission's coming from. So you decide to step foot in the ship, and you find this totally torn up ship. Again, I'll get more into the visual after I play the song and after I talk about the ending and stuff, because I want to save a lot of it for that. But the visual is kind of what you see here with this bloody hand, is sort of the idea. I mean, there's a visual of a broken, torn up ship with all of the crew dead, blood everywhere, and bodies everywhere, and just destruction. I'm trying to think of a more eloquent way to put it, but it is just literally like, it's like a hellscape. Like you step foot into a mechanical, man-built, pristine, white, shiny, glowing ship with all these lights, these bright greens and bright yellows and bright whites, and all this beeping and buzzing and whirring of machines, and what was once basically this perfect, containment center to be so sterile that a human could get into it and float around in fucking space where we don't belong, but that it's all destroyed and covered in blood and muck and just, it's foul now. Something so almost heavenly is now turned into this this hellscape. So again, I'll get more into specifics of the visual when we get to the end of the song, but so fucking cool, man. So fucking cool. My roommate is upstairs as we speak playing music, so hopefully that's not bleeding in too much. Yeah, man. Fucking awesome, dude. Fucking awesome. And essentially, you as the crew stepping into this other ship, seeing their crew all dead, you kind of press play on this thing in the comms center, and it starts playing back this transmission, of which the song lyrics are. The song lyrics are the transmission that you're hearing. And then at the end it cuts off before, it says, and we're going to lose our... And then the transmission cuts off, which implies very heavy things. So, guys, let me... One moment while I get some beer in my system, please. Cheers, everybody. Cheers. And we're going to get into this shit. Now, I'm not a good soloist. Oh, bumping my mic. I'm not a good soloist, especially on guitar. Never have been much of a theory guy. I can think about theory all day and put it on paper, and it makes sense, but when I'm playing, I've always grown up, I guess a big part of it's like laziness, and the way our brains work, and the way I choose for my mind to function, and all those kind of things kind of contribute to how I play. And especially being a drummer at first, I did not get into these kind of things for a long time. So I've never chosen on a lot of my own stuff to solo a lot. But this song, as I had discussed in a stream or two ago, or the past couple streams or something, this song kind of had this solo section at the end that was meant to be a solo section. It's just 4 chords kind of repeated over and over and over for 2 or 3 minutes or something like that. Well, not 2 or 3 minutes, because this cool soundscape part is at the end of that too, and which you guys should totally listen for. When I'm done soloing here, there's a whole soundscape at the end that kind of keep an eye out for, because it's supposed to set the scene for the visual, and I'm going to refer to it a lot for the visual after I play, that I start talking about the visual and stuff. That soundscape at the end is going to be referred to a lot and is meant to kind of build the universe. The sounds you hear, it kind of sets you, if you close your eyes, sets you in the middle of that ship too, and that was really cool to have that idea and get to do that stuff, and I'm really happy with how it came out. So listen very closely at the end. I might even go and turn the mix back up some, like I had mentioned just a minute ago. I turn the mix down some so that it'll fit without the guitar clipping too hard or too much, more than I already have it. But I'll go turn the mix the rest of the way up just whenever that end comes, just so you guys can really hear all that stuff that, again, if you kind of close your eyes, it puts you in the ship. So that's really cool. yeah, let me get a little beer, and I'm going to try this, man. I've never been much of a soloist, so it'll probably suck. I've been improvising for practice for a long time, and especially this morning, I've been doing it for like 2 or 3 hours straight, just sitting here and trying to set my levels and soloing on this, trying to get a different solo every time and just really flex myself around the changes of the song, the chord changes, which I suck at, but we'll see how that goes. So, cheers again, everybody, and happy fucking Sunday, and happy end to the Centrifuge stream. I hope that you guys have had as much fun with it as I have. It's been a lot of hard work, even though it's just a stream and there's not a lot of fancy shit I'm pulling. But this is all new for me, and it's the beginning of a journey, and hopefully someday I will have that new music that I've been promising finished. It's been release ready that I could just throw it out into the world for months now, but it's not good enough, and it doesn't sound like the mixes that I like in the genre, and I want it to, and I want it to be done fucking right, man. I don't want to fucking bitch out on the shit again and say, oh, it's, you know, it sounds like that just because that's the vibe of it, because it is no longer the vibe of it. For the Bedbugs, I worked for 5-6 years or so just recording stuff, not really knowing how to produce and just knowing how to record, and it was the vibe of that project. But now I'm moving into things with this new music, this pop and funk stuff. I really want it to sound the way that I want it to sound, and I want it to pay proper homage to the things I love, and I want it to pave the proper road ahead for what I'm doing that's new, that's different than the things I love. That's the me part of it. But I want it all to be good, you know? And so it's taking forever, and honestly, guys, it's probably going to take a while longer, man. Maybe another forever while longer, because every step forward I take on it, I feel like I take 2 steps back. But the mix is coming along. I've been working hard on that fucking mix, man. And I think unless I really get into some... oh my gosh, I might sneeze, so forgive me if I pause here. I might be getting into some fresh... Oh, excuse me. Oh, goodness. I'm getting into some fresh territory of things I don't know how to fuck with and have no business fucking with, and probably have to put a lot of money into this stuff, too, to get the right plugins and the right advice and the right technique. And, you know, there's so much you can do by just researching and using free shit. And, I don't know. Oh, my goodness, folks. I'm going to probably have to blow my nose, too. But my point is, for how much money I have as a human and how much time I have as a person and the work that I've been putting into this, it's taking shape, and I want to put more work and more money into it, and whatever I can. And so, you know, at the end of the road, whenever I use this camera, and I actually mess with the settings. Again, the settings aren't messed with here. This is just me setting it up literally as a webcam and not pressing any buttons. But once I get these settings on this camera, I get this thing ringed in and figure out how to use it. I figure out how to use video software to start building music videos around shit. And most importantly, I get my production on the audio quality of it really tight. Then you guys will have something new. And it's going to be like the coolest fucking shit I've ever done. So if you think this shit is cool, it's going to be way different, but it's going to be the new shit. It's going to be the new Alec Ramsey or the new Bedbugs. Someday will even surface, because I've kind of mentioned I have a new album for the Bedbugs that's been on the back burner and being adjusted for a long time too. That's not the new stuff that's coming out next, but I got a lot of shit on the plate is the point. I make it a point to never stop thinking and never stop taking notes and to keep working. No matter how slow I fucking go, for you guys out there, I have to keep it real. I go slow. I take my fucking time with shit, but especially at this point in my life, I do that because I want it done right. And you guys ever feel... Let me blow my nose really quick, please. Pepe, it would be nice to tell the folks a joke or something while I'm doing this. Yeah, I know. Just tell some jokes. Okay. Okay, that joke was not very funny, but Pepe tried. He tried to fill some space. So, I don't know, guys. The point is, man, I gotta keep shit real and just do shit how I can and how I do. And it's all just me doing it. But when it's put together, I can't fucking wait. I have so many moments over the last months. I've had so many moments of just, I want to put this out now, regardless of how different from the mixes and how bad, honestly, it sounds compared to the mixes that I listen to and I want it to sound like. It sounds nothing like them, but on its own, it sounds like something, and it sounds like me and what I've done. And I've had so many times where I'm like, I just want to put it out. I just want to put it out. But at least I have to wait until I get the video and the camera and the video software and stuff figured out so I can put together the music video for it, because I also want to make it a habit of putting out the video with the song. So yeah, I mean, if anybody out there, if anybody of the few people that watch my shit, the so few people over the past more than half a decade in my life, and honestly, if I'm talking about ever since I've, been a kid and been in bands, it's been longer than a decade, but me working on my own and making my own thing and trying to make something out of that has been coming up on, it's above half a decade, it's coming up on a decade of stuff. And that is only the beginning. And thank you, whoever is out there watching me do this stuff. And thank you for whoever listens and appreciates this shit. Because I feel like the way that I watch and absorb and listen to and appreciate the things that I love, that's the biggest thing I could give to anybody or anyone or any project. That appreciation and that love that comes for something that is not given. It's had so selfishly. You love something so much just because you, as a person, you love that, and you selfishly kind of relish in this feeling of euphoria that something that is so amazing to you gives you. And then you feel like you owe everything to whoever made such a piece. I don't know. I feel so deeply about the things that I care about, and if this is anything like that for anybody, then thank you. Thanks for being here and waiting out my my slow progress, because it will be worth it when it's done. I mean, this shit that I'm doing here, it might not be a lot and it might not be very fast, but when I get it out, it's going to be fucking worth it, man. So thanks for anybody who has ever listened to or appreciated or followed me or the things I do, and the stream and the new music and stuff have all been for a cause of getting all of this creative energy out and putting it out there into the world. And if even one person looks at that and is like, has those feelings of the same kind of feelings I have for when I appreciate something, if any of that's coming my way from anybody else for the things I do, don't know how to express the gratitude for that. I've always been a person that's very shitty at expressing gratitude. So for whoever is out there and has ever listened to my shit, it's always been like between 0 and 10, that's the, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like the hot number or whatever. Like, I've never had many things go above like 10, maybe like views or plays on something might go up to close to 100 or something, but it's always been very small operation and small spread. So I am looking specifically at you, talking to you, because chances are I probably know exactly who you are and why you're here listening to this shit. And yeah, you're fucking dope, dude. And this is all very worth it. Very worth it to get myself out there and to put this creative energy into something. So, be tuned for the new shit, man, because it's coming. But what we're going to do right now, I cheersed, is that how you say it? I cheersed like twice. I still haven't taken a drink. So let me take a drink. I got into all this side of fucking bullshit about talking like I like to do. So, happy Sunday, folks. here is to a good solo. Let's hope it goes that way. Give me one moment to clear my sinuses. It's going to be a little gross. Hi, Felix. Hey, buddy. Felix is back here chilling, too. My boy Felix. It was his birthday 3 days ago. He's an 8-year-old man, and speaking of 8, it is 8/8/2021, 808 day, motherfuckers. All right. Let's get into this, man. I hope my levels are all good. Enough talking. Let's fucking shred, even though I suck. Let's fucking do this. Gonna hear a lot of this. All right. Levels be damned. Here we fucking go. Wait. Here we are. All right, guys. Transmission to user. This is Sergeant of Scout Regiment 86919. I'm not sure what we're going through, but I have come to want to avoid the skyline and exhibition to newsers has led us to find some strange foreign life. It's been a good conversation, thousands of questions, but we're gonna lose our And there we are, folks. That's the end of the fucking album, man. Nothing like a good energy, man. So, the soundscape at the end. I worked really hard on thinking of layers to build onto each other that would ultimately put you in the place of this crew responding to this transmission and just before your own death, you know? And to do that, I put a lot of things like I envisioned and I took a lot of shots from Alien in particular as kind of inspiration for this, where there is, as a bass layer, the bass guitar, for one, is doing a lot of these kind of like, it's got like a lot of feedback coming out of the amp, and it's doing like these kind of things underneath that you can't hear that well. It's the bass. But it kind of sets this spooky underlay of just a weird humming of like something sounds broken, you know, and the ship is in shambles around them and all the electricity is torn apart. And then there's things like an acoustic guitar that is just on a chord, just kind of flutter picking between the lower and higher parts of the string. Now I don't know that this is going to be the right chord here, but and of course, all the things sound different, especially that as an acoustic guitar. Excuse me, guys. My sinuses are awful today. But there's an acoustic doing that on a chord. That may be the chord, actually. I'm not sure. But there's an acoustic kind of flutter picking between the lower strings and then the higher strings. And that kind of symbolizes these like broken lights that are rotating, that usually they would just, you know, rotate in unison, that kind of thing, but they're kind of disjunct and they're flickering as they're rotating and kind of stopping at some points and then going again, and just all kinds of messed up. And that's supposed to signify that. And then there's this like this guitar part that kind of just repeats. Like that, there we go. That is in an effort to have something almost musical going on instead of a lot of these like weird, like, I almost kind of see them as like Foley sounds, you know, that I'm doing for most of the instruments doing something. There's like a lot of instruments and layers and a lot of guitars mostly. And I kind of wanted them to be like these Foley sounds that weren't something musical necessarily, but something that created an effect, a sound effect. But there was that kind of almost semi-chord progression to sort of give some kind of spooky musicality to the whole thing as like an underlay. There's that bass there doing those weird bends and hums underneath. There's that acoustic doing the fluttering and broken rotating lights. There's a lot of like those kind of sort of sounds just picking at the edges of the strings. That sort of stuff going on to kind of simulate whatever alien in this universe that it is, kind of skittering around inside the walls of the ship, where you as the crew can't really see them. You just hear these little skitterings and in the railings and in the walls and stuff. There's that same kind of effect going on with the drums, where with my left foot on the hi-hat, I'm kind of very gently shaking and tapping my foot every now and then, and shake, 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 tap, tap, and getting this sort of like kind of effect out of the hi-hat and stuff, which is again kind of supposed to emulate that. There's a little bit of like rim clicking to kind of simulate that too. I'm hoping I haven't missed too many guitar layers or anything that are doing much stuff, but there's more in the drums where later on as it goes on, the drums on the rim start clicking out SOS in Morse code, as they start petering out from tapping on the cymbals and things, and whatever. As most of it's dying down, you can even start hearing, I think it's shat-tat-tat, tat-tat, tat-tat-tat. It's like 3, then 2, then 3 or something. Is SOS in Morse code. I can't remember, but I believe that's the pattern anyway. But it starts tapping out SOS to kind of give this sense that now you are the crew who has been caught by whatever aliens are running around the ship. In the midst of just standing there and absorbing the scene, something grabs you, and it's supposed to, obviously this guy's not getting like carried away or killed or whatever's happening by an alien, and like, oh my god, and just, he's not slapping SOS on the ground to no one to help him. It's not like a literal, like, I'm slapping SOS on the ground while I'm dying and getting eaten by this alien, holy shit. Because your radios don't work even if you were slapping SOS. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like he's just slapping SOS to the other homies there that are also dying or whatever. But it's kind of this metaphoric, I thought it was a cool way to slip in this sense of danger that was human, and not just the signs of the ship, the lights rotating and being broken and lights flickering and things like that, and holes in the hull of the ship where the aliens have crawled into and blood everywhere and stuff. Like, I wanted the crew to actually kind of have this metaphoric part in the chaos too. So the SOS tapping seemed like a very human thing I could incorporate into the sound that wouldn't break that fourth wall too much of, hey, this is just a soundscape here. You almost can't tell unless you know that SOS is being tapped because it's so buried in the mix. It's so sporadic still. I didn't just do a tut-tut-tut, tut-tut, tut-tut-tut, or whatever the pattern is. I made it very disjunct and like, tut-tut, tut-tut, tut-tut-tut. Just weird stuff, just anything I could do to put a little human element of fear into there. Human communication and human fear, and you hear it through that if you know what to look for. Just a lot of stuff going on in that kind of soundscape. And yeah, it's fucking cool, man. I just love all this sci-fi horror shit. I loved this artwork that fit with it that my brother Jared did. I loved writing the song, and even with this Scout Regiment 86919 thing, that was a very good opportunity for me to slip in a specific reference to a film, namely Alien, some kind of signification there. But instead of doing that, I didn't want it to be too alien forward, and I didn't want it to be too anything forward. I wanted it to be my kind of interpretation of all the sci-fi horror that I enjoy. So I put something that was absolutely not a reference to anything, on purpose. Sergeant of Scout Regiment 86919. And I just got it there for the sake of having this nod at the series that I love without just pulling something from them and putting one of their crews in there or something. Yeah, man. There's not much more to say about it. I mean, just go listen to it in headphones and let it consume you and instill fear in you, hopefully. And dig the album, man, because it was a fun one. Now, before we go today, folks, please go check out the rest of my albums. They are all definitely in their own spirit and in their own genre and in their own way. My other favorite of my own, if I had to pick, the one I would go to next is Melancholia. That was a really cool album to make. They all were, though. So go check out the Bedbugs. Check out on all your streaming shit. Who cares, man? Plugs. Let's throw some shit in. You know what to do, man. Just go find whatever streaming shit and listen to this. I mean, it's the stuff I've put a lot of work into in the past, and it'll get you ready for the shit that I'm doing now and in the future. Speaking of doing things in the future, I want to take some time streaming Dark Souls in the gaps with the fist-only thing, but until October I have some plans for. That should be really cool. During what month is it before October? Let me see. Let me express my intelligence here. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. That's 9. In September, I've got a whole month of planning and seeing where I want to go next and doing some Dark Souls streams probably in between. October, I have cool plans. So we should be able to get some things popping by then. I'm going to keep doing this kind of stuff and just keep making cool plans out of things I made and also streaming games in between and stuff until I get that new shit put out, man. That's when the streams hopefully will really evolve to where I can start opening up and saying, okay, now I've got the process to make this music and make it sound good. I've got that process down. Process will be a lot quicker than the first time. And then I'm going to start streaming that kind of stuff. I'm going to start showing you guys my productions on here. I'm going to start showing you how I do it, what I do to get the sounds, start showing you background stuff, behind the scenes kind of things as far as making of the song. One of my biggest inspirations for the kind of stuff that I want to be doing with that is Jacob Collier, who is not just an insane musician, but an insane producer. And with his live streams that he's done before, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, if you don't, go check it out. Jacob Collier has some amazing live streams on his productions, and that's kind of what I want to do. Is I want to show you guys behind the scenes stuff, and just sit here and chill and have a beer and show you my production stuff and perform and do this kind of stuff too, hopefully. Just a bunch of stuff, man. Bunch of stuff in the future. It's no secret that I'm a slow-moving human being, but it's also no secret that I always have this drive, no matter how slow, that I want to get something done. So hopefully in September we can get some more relaxed things going on. Just some Dark Souls Fist only run, which will be sweet. We're making some progress in that. And maybe some music streams thrown in there. I don't know. I don't plan too much ahead on this shit. And then in October, we should have some cool stuff going on then too for the spooky month. So hell fucking yeah, man. Thank you guys again for waiting on me and for coming out, for those few people who do, and who the even fewer people who care about it. So you're fucking awesome. Thank you. Cheers. One more time. Now, folks, if you'll excuse me, Pepe and I have some Sunday evening left to enjoy. So, love all you guys. Maybe love's a strong word. You guys are fucking awesome, man. If you've come out, I dig doing this. It's really fun to do something every week and to stay on top of something, even on the weeks, the past month or two or something. Recently, I've had a few weeks where I didn't stream. I don't plan on making a habit out of that. So be here next week, 2 p.m., Sunday. You guys know the fucking deal. Peace out, and until then, stay cool, folks. Thank you for coming in. Now, let me have my awkward second of reaching for the stop streaming button. Okay, yes. Goodbye.